I never thought my grandma's heartbreaking journey would inspire my own path to healing. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The air felt thick, alive with secrets that begged to be unveiled. Grandma sat across from me, her trembling hands clasped, eyes shimmering with a blend of sorrow and unspoken words. She had just revealed the truth, something buried deep for years, a family curse. As she spoke, the walls seemed to pulse, closing in around us. It all began when I discovered the old trunk in the attic. Dust danced in the sunlight, swirling over faded photographs and brittle letters. Grandma warned me to leave it untouched, but curiosity won. Among the treasures I found an envelope sealed tight, the ink on the front a vibrant red, unlike anything I'd ever seen. It felt warm against my skin, pulsing with untold stories. I could hardly breathe as I pulled it out, each heartbeat echoing in my ears. Her voice was a whisper, trembling like a leaf in the wind as she revealed the curse that haunted our family for generations. Love always turned to loss, happiness was a fleeting ghost. I felt my heart ache, a physical pain spreading through my chest. The tears stung, blurring the edges of my vision as I saw her face, etched in anguish, haunted by memories. I longed to reach out, to comfort her, but the weight of her words hung heavy in the air. It took my mother, my sister, and now it's my turn. The silence was deafening. Outside, the world continued to spin, but in that moment I felt time freeze. The truth twisted like a knife, sharp and unforgiving. Would I be next? As I searched her eyes, I saw a flicker of hope buried underneath the fear. "I've fought it," she whispered. "And you can too." I clenched my fists, my pulse racing. Could I really break the chains of despair? The aroma of dust and decay filled my nostrils, almost suffocating. My heart fought against the impending darkness, desperate for a way out, a flicker of light. But as her tale unfolded, each revelation dripped like poison, mixing with the urgency in her voice. I remembered my mother's smile fading, the warmth retreating like a sunset swallowed by an oncoming storm. My world began to cave in. I was pulled deeper into this labyrinth of mystery, pain, and unresolved sorrows. Just then, a loud crash from the kitchen shattered the moment. It jolted us both back to reality, the air thick with uncertainty. Had something malignant come for us? What had I unleashed by digging into the past? My heart raced, and all I could think was, what would it take to change our story? What lies in the shadows of our family's history that still haunts us? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The crash in the kitchen echoed in my mind long after it faded, an ominous reminder that I had unearthed something dark and powerful. Grandma's face drained of color, her eyes wide with fear, as if expecting the very shadows that haunted her to leap from the corners of our home. I stood paralyzed, caught between the chaos of my heart and the uncertainty of our surroundings. "Stay here," she whispered, the tremor in her voice betraying her resolve. It was an instinct driven by decades of fear, an instinct I yearned to fight against, to push aside. But the growing cold creeping into my bones made it hard to argue. As Grandma crept toward the kitchen, I followed closely behind, my breath shallow. I needed to know what had happened to grasp the reality of the situation. The kitchen, once a place filled with the comforting smell of freshly baked cookies and laughter, had turned into a battlefield. The old wooden table was overturned, a chair lay on its side, and the remnants of a glass lay scattered across the floor, glimmering like fallen stars on the dark tiles. "Hello?" Grandma called, her voice barely above a whisper. My heart raced harder. I felt the urgency in her tone that echoed the fear festering within me. No one answered. A chill enveloped us, wrapping around both our bodies like a suffocating shroud. Then I spotted it, a flicker of unexpected brightness among the tangled mess. The sun peeked through the window, casting a fragile ray that illuminated a small piece of paper wedged between the shards of glass. I knelt down, my hands trembling as I reached for it. The delicate texture of the paper felt ancient, almost alive under my fingers. As I unfolded it, the words sprawled before me like a secret incantation. To break the curse, it takes not just the heart, but the strength of many. Confusion washed over me, mingling with dread. What did this mean? Were there others out there? I felt the weight of countless questions pressing down on my chest, but I scarcely had time to think. Grandma returned, her face a mixture of fear and determination. What is it? She asked, seeing the lost expression on my face. I handed her the paper, my voice barely a whisper. It's about the curse. It says we need the strength of many. She read it, her brows knitting together in deep thought. I've always believed we were alone in this. That was the nature of the curse. The air thickened with unsaid things, a surge of longing twisting deep within me. Maybe there are others who have faced it too. Maybe together we can rewrite our story. Hope glimmered, fueled by possibilities. The shadows may have swallowed our past, but they didn't have to claim our future. Just as a smile threatened the edges of her weary mouth, the weight of sorrow returned. But what if the rest of the family wants nothing to do with it? What if they don't believe? Her question loomed large, heavy, and I knew we were treading on thin ice. I don't know, I confessed, my voice barely a fragment of sound, but we have to try. In that moment we stood for a heartbeat as two souls bound by loss and yearning. Despite the gathering storm around us, I could feel that flicker of hope growing, stirring deep inside. Later that night, darkness pressed against the windows, and silence wrapped around us like a blanket, cocooning Grandma and me in our own little world. Yet, underneath the quiet, I wondered about unbroken chains and old secrets. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching us from afar. Or even worse, someone was waiting. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thoughts tangled. My mind drifted back to Grandma's face when she had shared her burdens with me. Beneath the wrinkles, the sorrow, the weight of her past, I could see a yearning to protect, to shield me from this cycle. Could I dare to turn the tide? As fatigue overcame me, I drifted into a restless sleep, where dreams morphed into nightmares laced with shadows. Morning light slipped over the horizon, bringing with it a resolve I hadn't anticipated. I would gather those who still bled from the same wounds, confront the curse head-on. I felt the stirrings of determination, but anxiety loomed like a specter, ready to snatch it away. As I prepared to venture outside, a sudden knock at the door sent my heart racing. I exchanged glances with Grandma, her expression mirrored my own, a mixture of fear and curiosity. What awaited us on the other side? I opened the door slowly, heart pounding with uncertainty, to find a figure cloaked in shadows, a familiar face draped in a past I thought was long gone. My breath caught as recognition flooded in. You, I gasped, unease coiling like a serpent in my stomach. What are you doing here? The gravity of the moment hung between us, and I realized we were not as alone in this struggle as we had feared. But before I could question the motives of this visitor, a sharp realization thundered through my mind. An uninvited guest could mean only one thing. The curse was far from finished with us. The door creaked open wider, and the figure stepped into the dim light of our home, the sharp features and familiar presence igniting a mix of nostalgia and dread. It was Sam, my estranged cousin, his once bright eyes now shadowed, reflecting the pain and struggles he had carried away from us. Memories rushed back. Summer spent laughing and crafting dreams together, but also the bitter taste of betrayal when he walked away, leaving an unhealed rift in our family. Sam, I breathed, unsure if I should welcome him or retreat. Can I come in? He asked, his voice hoarse, almost pleading. Grandma shifted beside me, her grip tightening on my arm as if bracing for a tempest. Yeah, come in, I reluctantly replied, swinging the door wider. Sam stepped over the threshold, dust motes swirling around him in the shaft of light, a ghost wandering back into a haunted atmosphere. What happened? I demanded, trying to mask the mix of hope and suspicion swirling in my chest. Why are you here? His gaze dropped to the floor. I heard about what happened. The kitchen, the curse. I thought maybe I could help. Grandma, who had been silently absorbing the moment, stepped forward, her voice trembling. You don't understand, Sam. This isn't just about broken spirits. It's about a curse that has shadowed our family for generations. Coming back now, I know what I did, he interrupted, his voice cracking under the tension. I was wrong to leave. I was scared and I thought I could escape it. But this, he gestured to the kitchen, the remnants of shattered glass still lying haphazardly on the floor. This is real. I can't run anymore. I glanced at Grandma, her features softened, the lines of worry easing just a fraction. Then why did you come? She challenged, her eyes narrowing suspiciously. Because I need to confront my past too. I've seen things that make the shadows in here look like child's play, Sam said, visibly shaking. And if you believe we need the strength of many, maybe it starts with us together. His eyes flickered with a hope that mirrored my own, igniting a spark within me that had been fading since the crash shook our world. A silence blanketed us as the weight of our collective history hung heavy in the air. Could we all stand united against the forces that sought to tear us apart? I took a steadying breath, feeling the pull of the idea. Perhaps my long-held resentment could transform into understanding, could turn into a bridge over the troubled waters of our family's past. Okay, I finally said, surprising even myself. If we're going to face this, if we're going to find those who may help us, we need to resolve our own issues first. Starting with how we all lost our way. Sam nodded slowly, relief washing over his features. I want that too. I need forgiveness, I need to make things right. Grandma stepped back, her voice quieter now, almost fragile. Forgiveness is a long road, Sam. One we will all need to walk together if we're to face what lies before us. As we each began to share our thoughts, the regrets, the pain, the fears that drove us apart, I felt the connection between us stiffen then loosen, like a chain that was slowly but surely being pieced together. Yet, the comfort of our reunion was short-lived. As shadows lengthened across the room, a sudden flicker of light caught my attention. I turned, my heart thudding as I noticed Grandma stepping closer to the window. The sun had dipped behind the clouds, but it wasn't he that alone that darkened the room. An ominous wind howled, rattling the window panes, and stirred glimpses of movement outside, a dark figure standing just beyond the edge of our property. Do you see that? I whispered, my heart sinking into a cold abyss. Sam stepped back, his face pale. What is it? I don't know, Grandma replied, her voice a trembling thread, but it can't be good. The figure lingered at the periphery of our vision, obscured but undeniably present, as if waiting. My stomach twisted, panic rising within me. Who is it? I asked, voice shaky, and then like the breath of winter air rushing in through an open door, the apparition stepped closer, revealing a familiar silhouette, an image from my memories now turned distorted and twisted. It can't be, no, it's not possible, I muttered, dread coiling in my chest. Sam recoiled, his expression turning grave. What do you see? As the shadows deepened around us, a whisper of laughter echoed through my mind, clawing its way back to the surface. The truth lauded deep revenge, shadows swarming, but what I had overlooked was the very first consequence of confronting the past. It was returning with a vengeance I never invited. The air turned electric with tension as we stood, frozen in time, staring at the figure that hovered just out of reach of certainty and horror. The twilight cast an eerie glow, illuminating the features that lay cloaked in shadow. It had to be a trick of the light, my heart whispered. An illusion spun from all the fear and regret that weighed upon us. But no, there it was, unmistakable, as real as the knot tightening in my chest. Is it her? Sam asked, voice barely above a whisper. He took a furtive step back, longing for the refuge of the past, the safety of distance. Can't be, I breathed, shaking my head slowly, desperately trying to reject the possibility. But the silhouette moved, a hand gesturing forward almost invitingly, yet with menace laced within. I felt my breath hitch as the warmth of nostalgia clashed with the ice of deep-seated dread. Lena, we need to go, Grandma's voice snapped me out of my reverie. She turned back towards the kitchen, the remnants of the curse weighing heavily in her chest, as though she sensed that our reunion was just the precursor to something far darker. But who is it? I managed to gasp, refusing to allow my family to flee from what had to be confronted. We had spent far too long running from our scars instead of facing them together, yet the sight before us sowed seeds of doubt deep within my core. The specter shifted again, its outline sharpening in my mind, memories intertwining with the fabric of mystery and fear. Aunt Shirley, I breathed, feeling the air around me condense into a thick fog of anguish and disbelief. Grandma halted mid-step. Her. The word fell from her lips like a sacred curse, a name laced with history steeped in turmoil. It can't be, Sam, we have to move. Grandma's urgency grew, eyes darting back to the kitchen. This is not who we are anymore. Not her, not us. What if she's come to warn us? Sam posited, his eyes widening with searchlight hope even as his voice tremored with wariness. What if she needs our help? Or what if she's here to finish what was started? I murmured, clenching my fists, battling against the raw memories of a woman who had once been the beating heart of our little family, now veiled in shadows and echoes of neglect. She's not here with good intentions, Grandma snapped, shock wavering in her voice. I can feel it deep within my bones. But something inside me couldn't shake the unmistakable pull of connection, the urge to step across the threshold once more. We can't keep running. Maybe she's here for a reason, I argued, instinctively glancing back towards the figure that loomed beyond our threshold, poised on the edge of recognition and destruction. If only we understood what that reason is. Sam chimed in, uncertainty clawing at him. We need to find out who she's come to curse. If it's us, the past will never let go until we do, Grandma interrupted fiercely, eyes glistening. And if we don't make our stand now, we may lose everything we've fought to rebuild. Suddenly, with a rush of wind that practically howled through our home, the figure lunged forward, almost as if a powerful unseen force propelled it closer, its face emerging from the shadow. And then in that single heart-stopping moment, time suspended as I recognized the contours of the face I once knew so well. Help me, Aunt Shirley's voice pierced the charged silence, raspy but urgent, resonating with a primal scream for connection that transcended the darkness. I didn't mean for it to end this way. Before I could process the weight of her words, a slamming sound erupted from the kitchen. The plates and cups rattled within the cupboard as if the very essence of our home rebelled against the specter's invocation. With a sharp inhale, I turned to see the remnants of the curse shimmering ominously, broken glass reflecting dancing shadows. No, I gasped, eyes darting back to Aunt Shirley, unable to fathom the reality that this might be the key to unlocking our family's tumultuous past. Let her in, Sam urged, stepping forward, shaking off the iron grip of fear. We have to face this together. But before I could respond, the apparition's wraith-like gaze locked onto mine, and an unexpected flicker of hope ignited within me despite the fear. A question lingered in the air, thick as fog. Could this be a chance to unearth the truth buried beneath layers of anguish? We need to invite her in, I whispered, embracing the tumult of uncertainty crashing around us. Then the darkened figure stepped fully into the light, our worlds colliding as if fate itself had intertwined our destinies once more, ready to reveal unthinkable secrets that would either bind us together or tear us apart forever. Will you listen? Aunt Shirley implored, her ethereal voice like wind through trees, laden with grief and wisdom. As I nodded, time lapsed, hearts raced, and our fates hung in the balance, teetering on the brink of revelation. The frigid air around us thickened with tension as Aunt Shirley's silhouette morphed into something more corporeal. Shadows receded to reveal the face etched with both sorrow and familiarity. My heart raced not just in fear, but in the overwhelming surge of longing for a bygone closeness I didn't fully understand. Will you listen? Aunt Shirley repeated, her voice trembling like the leaves in autumn's last wind, a blend of authority and unguarded vulnerability. Why are you here? Grandma's voice cracked, a tremor of anger mingling with the quivering fear. Her past laced tightly around her heart. You left us. You became a shadow, Shirley. The pain in her tone echoed a lifetime of betrayal and unanswered questions, her eyes glistening not with fury, but with the heavy burden of the past that she had struggled to shed. I know, Aunt Shirley murmured, her breath hitching as if the weight of her own sins stung her throat. But I'm not here to haunt. I need your help. I need your forgiveness. That should be been easy for you to ask, Grandma hissed, arms crossing defensively. A whirlwind of hurt rose between them, perhaps more forceful than the physical distance that had long since separated us. Can't you see? That's why I'm here, Aunt Shirley pressed, stepping into the light, vulnerable and trembling as if she was reaching across an ocean of regret. All I wanted was to stitch together the torn fabric of our family. You are stronger than you realize, but these chains bind me still. What chains? I asked, the words spilling from my mouth like an unanswered prayer. An insatiable yearning for clarity and connection. An imperceptible notion began to pulse between us. A thread of something fragile and precious. The curse. Aunt Shirley gasped, eyes wide, pleading. The one that took me from you. I learned too late that running doesn't erase the past, it only strengthens its hold. I sought to protect you, but I've only brought more darkness. Sam was silent, a hesitant shiver traveling down his spine as he immersed in the reality of this painful revelation. I felt him reach for my hand, his warmth contrasting the chilled atmosphere. It was a simple yet profound gesture, something I desperately needed to anchor me amidst the rising tide of emotion. "Surely you left us," Grandma hissed, her voice dropped to a whisper, trembling with something that drove deep into a scar buried within. "You think it's that simple? You think your explanations can absolve you after being gone for so long?" "Maybe they can," I dared to interject, frustration spilling over my desire to support both women I loved. What if her coming back is our chance? Our opportunity to break the cycle? We've spent years suffocating beneath secrets. Perhaps we need to unearth whatever's lurking in those shadows. Silently, Aunt Shirley nodded, her gaze unwavering, and suddenly I saw the flickers of hope in her eyes, a light born from a deep need, glimmers of humanity amidst the darkness that clung to her. And then I remembered. There had been stories, scraps of conversations that seeped from Grandma's lips like whispered melodies of long-forgotten songs, the curse lingering in our family, the loss of Aunt Shirley, whispers of betrayal that had sent ripples through our lineage. It was more than just absence. It was a burden that we carried in silence, refusing to address the jagged edges of our history. "What is it you want from us?" I asked, the heaviness of our collective past rippling through the air. "To break the cycle," Aunt Shirley breathed, a fresh wave of determination lighting her features. "But I cannot do it alone. The darkness surrounding us, it doesn't just belong to me. It's in each of you, and we must confront it together." "You felt its pull, Haven to you?" The echoes from the past whispering as we tried to move forward. Silence settled around us, weighed down by the enormity of her words. Numbed by the truth that wrapped around everything we thought we had tackled, the echo of her lament resonated through our very being. I felt a soft squeeze on my hand, a signal from Sam grounding me as the specter of fear tightened its grip. "What must we do?" His voice trembled as it broke the spell of silence. "Face the memories," Aunt Shirley implored, her form wavering, flickering in and out between realms. "All the pain must be unearthed. Only then can we cleanse our hearts." But just as the words settled into the air, a deafening crash erupted from the back of the house, shattering the fragile atmosphere, the doors rattling against their frames as if they were yawning open to unleash unspeakable chaos. My heart leapt as Sam and I whipped around to face the source, dread pooling like ice in the pit of my stomach. "What was that?" I mouthed, panic cutting across my features. Grandma's expression morphed into a mask of horror. "No, not now," she shouted, the tremors in her voice gone, replaced by fierce desperation. It was as if a distant storm converged upon the calm before the tempest. My gaze returned to Aunt Shirley, her form shimmering like an illusion, the light bending, almost shattering at the edges. "We must hurry," she urged, fear lacing her words. "The past is coming, ready or not. If we don't confront it, it will consume us all." Yet as I took a step toward our past, the room grew darker, shadows coiling around us like smoke. My heart quickened in horror as I realized that the truth could be more perilous than I had been prepared for. We had opened a door that might never close, and the storm was upon us, threatening to unravel everything we fought for. "Please listen," Aunt Shirley cried, her voice fading as if the darkness was already swallowing her whole. "You have to trust me." And in that moment, I was left standing, fragile, heart pounding, tethered between the reality of the present and the storm that loomed before us. As a singular question coursed through my mind, what were we about to unleash? The darkness surged, a tangible entity that crawled across the walls of the room, and for a heavy moment, the air quivered with anticipation. I could feel the shadows deepening their grip on our reality, swallowing bits of light as if savoring the taste of uncertainty. Aunt Shirley's figure was rapidly fading, her desperate face mingling with the encroaching night. "Shirley," Grandma's voice broke like brittle glass. "Don't leave us." But Aunt Shirley's essence flickered, struggling to hold on, and I wondered if she was already being drawn into the gulf of her own regrets. My heart beat loudly in my chest, a drum heralding the uncertain Herculean task that lay ahead. "We have to brace ourselves," I shouted, rallying every ounce of strength I could muster. "Aunt Shirley, show us how to confront it." For a moment, the shadows receded as Aunt Shirley focused her energy. "Memories don't just fade. They fester when ignored. We must go back, find the moments buried beneath layers of fear and pain. They're not just mine. They are all of ours. As her words took hold, they brought forth flashes of raw emotion, a montage in my mind of laughter mixed with loss, joy intertwined with sorrow. I remembered the times the three of us, Grandma, Aunt Shirley, and I would gather around the dinner table, the warmth of family cloaking us in a safety beyond words. But I also recalled the echoes of hoarse whispers, accusations thrown like daggers, and the chill that followed Aunt Shirley's departure, the silent years that had built an insurmountable wall between us. Sam shifted beside me, the warmth of his presence a counterbalance to the cold dread spiraling upward. What do we need to do? How do we reach those memories? Aunt Shirley, her spirit brightening momentarily, beckoned us with an outstretched hand. A flicker of hope nestled between shadows. You must embrace what you've been avoiding. The pain can only heal when it's acknowledged. Are you willing to journey into the darkness together? We must unearth every fragment and release its grip. A creeping unease thrummed through me. Wasn't this the very thing I had avoided? The fear of facing our scars, the very essence of what had driven Aunt Shirley away? And yet, something within me began to tremble with a different sensation, an unexpected stirring of resolve. Yes, we're ready, I declared, lifting my chin to meet my grandmother's intense gaze. We can't keep living in the shadows. Her eyes softened momentarily. Memories of what we once were skimming the surface. Perhaps you're right. For too long I've allowed myself to be bound by my own pain. But just as Grandma took a step forward, the crashing sound echoed through the back wall again. Louder this time, a herald of looming dread. My heart sank as realization hit. Whatever was coming wasn't merely a ghostly manifestation of our past. It felt all too real. We don't have much time, Aunt Shirley called, the urgency sharp in her voice. Hold on to each other. Close your eyes and remember. And before I could gather my wits, the shadows thickened to a pitch-black cloud, swallowing us whole. Darkness enveloped my senses and I felt my tether to reality fray like a wilting thread. Images began to spiral around me, a rush of fragmented memories. Grandma in her youth, a sparkle in her eye. Aunt Shirley's laughter rich and vibrant. A lullaby sung softly as twilight descended, and in the distance an ominous shadow lingering, a reminder of despair, an uninvited guest who had settled among us. Remember, Aunt Shirley urged, her voice emerging like a lighthouse through the haze. These memories are a part of you, but they do not define you. A pulse of light flickered behind my eyelids as I held on to her words, somber yet powerful. The shadows threatened to drown us, but snippets of warmth and joy ignited my spirit. A kaleidoscope of shared moments that weightlessly uplifted our shared grief. As I opened my eyes, I gasped to see a spectral figure amidst the tendrils of darkness, the outline of a man I recognized only through fleeting tales spun by Grandma's hushed murmurs. He was cloaked in shadows, but it was unmistakable. His features bore a haunting resemblance to Aunt Shirley. A jolt ran through me, for I had finally unveiled a memory long buried. What have you done? The spectre's voice boomed, filled with sorrow and rage, shaking the very ground beneath us. You've returned to the past, but some truths are too painful to unearth. In that shattering second, I noticed Grandma's breath quicken, her face a war of recognition and dread. No, it can't be. And with a heart-wrenching realization, I understood I had summoned the very embodiment of our family's torment. The stakes had risen, and the confrontation had only just begun. Caught between haunting shadows and painful truths, I stood paralyzed, a flickering candle in a storm. Somewhere deep within, I felt the electric hum of hope against the vast expanse of fear, yet it was suffocated beneath the oppressive weight of what was about to unfold. We were about to face our darkest echoes, a confrontation that might forge new beginnings or irrevocably tear us apart. And as I grasped Sam's hand tightly, a shivering whisper danced in my thoughts. Were we truly ready to defy the darkness together? The darkness writhed ominously, and as I clutched Sam's hand, a wave of cold surged through me, mingling with the warm pulse of our connection. My heart pounded in my chest, the sound echoing in the hollow chamber of uncertainty. Aunt Shirley's spectral glow flickered like a candle in the wind, struggling to shed light on the swirling turmoil that surrounded us. Do not let fear bind you, Aunt Shirley cried, her voice threading between the bluster of grief and hope deep within the darkness. Fight for each other. Remember that love can pierce the shadows. The apparition before us, that shadowy figure embodying our family's pain, seemed to pulse, absorbing Aunt Shirley's command yet throwing back a force that knocked me several inches backward. I struggled to regain my composure. Who are you? I whispered, my voice quavering. What do you want? What do I want? He echoed, his tone dripping with equal parts contempt and sorrow. What I once wished to see a family unscathed by heartache. But dreams turn to nightmares. That is the essence of legacy. Behind his menacing form, the fabric of the past began to unravel. I caught fleeting glimpses of moments that framed our family's history: a birthday cake splattered onto a weathered table, Aunt Shirley celebrating milestones shadowed by guilt, Grandma clutching tightly to whatever pieces of happiness she could salvage. The spectral visage melded with flashes of laughter now laced with a bitter undertone, a catastrophe swirling around us, begging for resolution. Let us see the truth, Sam exclaimed, stepping forward with a surge of courage. Let us confront it so we can heal. The figure shifted, a malicious grin curling on his lips. Healing requires sacrifice, boy. Are you prepared to give what it takes? Before I could gather my thoughts, a strange warmth flared in the depths of my chest. Painful ideas came tumbling forth, memories long tethered in the accordion folds of my mind, shadows stretching and warping the happy moments of our lives. I thought of the nights spent listening to Grandma's stories, Aunt Shirley's loving guidance dulled by resentment, and the abstract yet consuming fear that had hollowed us one family member at a time. What price are you prepared to pay for the truth? The figure blasted, its voice a cacophony that enveloped the space. From a distance, Aunt Shirley's ethereal form pulsated with urgency, her eyes pleading for recognition of the depths of our shared past. You have the power within you to choose. Focus on the joy, not just the pain. Feeling the weight of the moment, I closed my eyes tightly, inhaling deeply to enshroud myself in that love, tangible yet elusive. Memories cascaded through my mind, vividly illuminating moments together, like sunlight filtering through a canopy of leaves. I could taste the sweet lemonade of our laughter, hear the warm echoes of familiarity in Grandma's voice, feel Aunt Shirley's hand on my shoulder amidst our darkest days. I spoke with fervor as I opened my eyes once more, harnessing the connection we had built through years of love and struggle. The truth isn't just pain. It's also the love that birthed us. We hold the power to forge our future. With every word that spilled from my lips, a vibrancy unfurled before us. The shadows congealed, flickering with uncertainty at my defiance. The phantom-esque grin faltered, revealing traces of lost hope hidden within its anger. Yet, beneath that uncertainty lay a deeper turmoil. A sudden crack formed within the apparition, revealing layers of hurt layered by years of silence. I felt as though we were peeling back the skin of our ancestral sins, and beneath that, raw vulnerability lingered. But before I could link the strands together any further, Grandma gasped, "No, it can't be happening again." The figure lurched forward, fury ignited in its presence. "You dare disrespect the past? You think love can erase everything? I am a testament to the cost of such naivete." My heart sank, realizing the depth of the specter's connection to our family, and the wounds yet to be uncovered. "You are not just an echo," I ventured, my voice stronger than before. "You are a reminder that we have to face our pain to embrace it, to heal." Suddenly, the air thrummed with an electrifying force, a resistance building. The spectral figure wavered, seemingly torn between holding us captive and the plea for liberation. The shadows writhed, yearning to swallow the light that began to transfigure around us. "Awaken the bond. Resurrect the love buried beneath years of sorrow," Aunt Shirley commanded. I felt the warmth of Sam's hand tighten around mine, a symbol of solidarity that prompted exhilarating warmth. Together, we took a step into that gathering storm, our hearts beating in unison, bound by the desire to confront the shadows that sought to dismantle our family. The figure faltered once more, the dread cloaking it, unraveling ever so slightly. In that moment, the kaleidoscope of love I had conjured began to illuminate the darkness with piercing clarity. But as we approached the threshold of understanding, an earthquake of desperation gripped the shadows, forcing them inwards with a devastating intensity. Then came a shatter, an echoing crack of revelation. A familiar face emerged from the darkness, not as a ghost but as a living presence. My heart recoiled as I recognized the hardened features, the emergency light glimmering in their eyes. It was my father. "Enough," he bellowed, stepping into the fray, and I felt the room tilt around me as reality collided with my past. I stood rooted in disbelief. The very embodiment of my most conflicted emotions had surfaced from the depths, breathing life into the haunting specter of grief. And as our eyes met, the question spun silently between us. Would he build a bridge or sever it forever? With his arrival, the stakes soared to insurmountable heights. I could feel the drumbeat of hope clashing with tumult, and the struggle for healing had taken a new, uncertain path. In this maelstrom, fate tugged at the strings of our broken family, each glance revealing the possibility of truth or irreversible rupture. And as I absorbed the weight of it all, I braced myself, not knowing if the sheltering warmth of love would rise or if chilling betrayal would drown us all once more. The air crackled with tension as my father's figure loomed before us, the fury of the shadows wrestling against his presence. I felt Sam's grip tighten further, the warmth seeping into my palm like a lifeline. Eyes darting from my father to the spectral figure, memories of long-forgotten meals around the dinner table and hushed arguments played like a spectral film reel in my mind. I felt an ache, part yearning, part dread, as the fragmented pieces of my family's story collided in a chaotic swirl. "Dad," I finally managed, my voice quavering. "What are you doing here?" He stepped forward, his expression an intricate dance of resolve and remorse. "To end this madness once and for all. We can't keep burying the truth, or it will bury us." "But at what cost?" I challenged, grappling with the familiar sense of betrayal that had marked my youth. I could see the specter shrinking, the shadows wavering, but I understood that confronting our ghosts also meant facing the truths that lurked in my father's heart. "It cost me everything," he replied, voice softening yet steeped in pain. "I lost your mother to this darkness, chasing my own demons instead of standing by her. Now it's time to confront my failures." "Your failures?" I cried out, incredulity lacing my tone. "What about Grandma? What about Aunt Shirley suffering in silence?" "The past is a cycle," the apparition interjected, its voice thrumming with an eerie resonance. "Each echo calls forth a new generation. Do you not see? You are all bound by the same chains that bound your ancestors." A flicker of doubt crossed my father's face as he glanced at the entity, and for just a heartbeat, I felt a rising tide of uncertainty from him, the realization that he too was trapped in the legacy of pain that had shaped us all. "No more chains," Sam declared suddenly, stepping forward defiantly. "Let us break this cycle together." "Do you know what you ask?" the figure roared, its tone igniting a storm of shadows swirling around. "Every truth requires sacrifice. What are you willing to lose to cleanse the legacy of despair?" "Let us find out," I spoke fiercely, buoyed by Sam's pledge beside me. The connection I felt with him surged, inciting courage deep within. Love's luminescence flickered brighter, the shadows recoiling momentarily, showcasing an inviting glimmer of hope. "Together," I whispered, beckoning Grandma and Aunt Shirley's spectral forms to witness this moment of unity. "We can heal the rift. We can transform bitterness into understanding." As if in response, my father straightened, his features shifting from desperation to determination. "If that's what it takes, then I'm in. I need to face what I put our family through and let you know I was wrong." The apparition roared again, furious yet cracked with vulnerability. "You think acceptance will grant you freedom? You'll lose more than you can imagine." I took a step closer. "And we'll gain more than you know. We'll reshape our legacy. We refuse to let our family be defined by despair anymore." In that pivotal moment, it felt as though time suspended, weaving through past and present in delicate threads. The convergence of our hands, the warmth of connection, felt like a lifeboat amidst an encroaching storm. Just as I felt the exhilarating promise of healing surge through my being, a darker shadow veiled my heart. "Then step into the light," the figure hissed with a new disposition, the fury morphing into a chilling sorrow. "But be aware, this light burns differently." As my father stepped forward to embrace our collective vulnerability, an uncanny flash of warmth surged through me, only to be immediately followed by icy breath on my neck. The apparition twisted itself into a life of its own, and as my father crossed the line to embrace his ghosts, its laughter roared like crashing thunder. "Together, you'll uncover buried truths you might not be ready to face," it declared, even as I felt the slightest quiver underfoot, a sinister tremor pulling at the fabric of reality around us. Before I could shield myself from what came next, cracks began to break through the space we occupied. A whirlwind of memories, sweet and bitter, swirled violently around us, and with each one that shattered forth, The air grew heavy with anticipation. I grasped Sam's hand tighter, feeling his heart race. "Lila!" Grandma cried, a note of desperation tinged with fierce love threading her voice. I steeled myself to hold on to hope amidst the chaos unfolding. Glimpses of heartache and joy flashed around us, a family history that felt simultaneously suffocating and liberating. With each passing second, it became evident that the cost of truth would transcend beyond the lives and losses we had faced. And just as I thought we might harness this tumult, the room exploded with blinding light, erupting from the depths of the figure's heart, a seismic surge that threatened to bury us under revelations. My world skewed, reality spiraling as I screamed for us to stand together. "Stay with me," I cried out, the resolve coiling in my throat like a rope tethering my sanity to the impending onslaught of revelations. But in that moment, I felt an unyielding grip around my heart, squeezing as the storm erupted. Blinding light bridged the darkness, an overwhelming tide crashing down upon us all. Then I froze, a chilling clarity washing over me as a familiar voice echoed among the chaos, one I had long buried under layers of hurt and shame. It was my mother's voice breaking through the tempest. "Lila, my child, it's time." The ceiling cracked open, blinding shards of light pouring through. And in that moment, terror and wonder merged. Something shifted irrevocably in the core of my being, and I knew instinctively that this was either the beginning of healing or the unraveling of everything I'd ever known. And as the light enveloped us, the gravity of revelation settled heavily into my chest, leaving me breathless with questions I was not ready to answer. As tears streamed down my face, I understood one undeniable truth. Darkness had knocked on our door, and vulnerability would become the key if we dared to turn it. The blinding light dissipated in a heartbeat, leaving behind whispers of confusion and echoes of unresolved pasts. We stood, suspended in a moment where angels wept and demons danced in the corners of our minds. I turned to my father, his expression mirroring my own. Both fear and yearning laced our features. "Mom," I said, the sweet sound of her name catching in my throat like a fragile glass ornament teetering on the brink of shattering. I could barely hold on to the flicker of hope she represented. I had spent years scavenging the remnants of her love like a ghost searching for shadows. Yet here I was, amid the circumference of light she had once illuminated. "The past ain't gone, Lila," she continued, her voice weaving through the air like a gentle caress interspersed with the tempest. "You must confront it to liberate the love waiting for you on the other side." The wind shifted, colder and sharper, unsettling my resolve. A weight of collective memories settled upon my shoulders as haunting visions of my mother's struggles danced through the brightness, a litany of tears and unyielding strength stitched together by the thread of despair. "I've tried to forget," I stammered, each word steeped in bitterness. "I've tried to move on without you. But moving on isn't erasure, my love." Her eyes glimmered, wells of understanding that seemed to look straight into the core of my fears. "Your history holds the keys to your healing." I felt Sam squeeze my hand tighter, his presence a steadfast anchor amidst the emotional hurricane. He understood what I couldn't fully comprehend. The truth would cut deeper than any blade, but could also carve out a space for light to bleed in. "Do you really believe we can break this cycle?" he asked, his voice fragile yet unwavering. His courage bolstered my own, infusing a sense of determination that I yearned to cling to. "Belief is the first step, but it demands truth, and that comes at a cost," the apparition warned, shifting its form like fluid through a fractured mirror. "You will face the shadows within your own fears, your own despair. Only then can the roots of this legacy be ripped from the soil." I hesitated, grappling with the haunting possibility that my worst fears might forge themselves into tangible forms before me. Would I encounter the shadows I had cloaked under layers of denial? Demons I had fought so hard to repress? Could I evoke reconciliation not just with my mother's memory, but with the bitterness in my father's gaze, forever tainted by regret? For a fleeting moment, clarity sparkled like diamonds in the dark. If confronting the truth would bring about healing, perhaps it was a cross I could bear. I turned to my father, heart racing. "I want to know the truth." I meant it completely, though I felt the tremors vibrating through my body as I spoke the words. The courage felt flimsy and tenuous, like a candle flickering against a tempest. "I'm ready to face it with you." His expression faltered as the silent specter of pain flickered in his eyes. "Are you certain you're ready for the weight of it? Some truths have an irreversible cost." There was an intensity in the room as shadows danced around our feet, absorbing my every dread and uncertainty. I could see Sam's unwavering gaze on me, encouraging me to forge ahead, promising to stay by my side as I ventured deep into unknown territory. I'm ready, I affirmed, though the bubbling fear clawed at my insides. I won't let fear control my narrative any longer. I want to rewrite our story. Just then, an unexpected warmth wrapped around me, a glowing sense of unity threading through the space. A revelation sparked in my chest, igniting my resolve. As the air surged with energy, the shadows amplified, thrumming like untamed electricity through our feet, and then, with a jolt, the icy ghost shifted closer, bearing the faces of my family long gone. Facing the truth will entail grief, it crooned with eerie gentleness, the shadows morphing into once familiar smiles, energies pulsing through time and space. But remember, it also cultivates the strongest roots. Are you prepared to dig deep? The world around me began to swirl once more with memories of laughter and sorrow. I shook as pain enveloped me, echoing the agony of retreating memories. I could sense the pull of contradictions trembling within the hearts of the gathered apparitions, love and loss intertwined like vines choking an old tree. Then it struck me, a thunderous realization. My mother represented the strength that resided in vulnerability, the beauty that sprung from chaos. Could we not become the hands that nurtured the burgeoning seedlings of understanding, breaking free from the old patterns? A rush of inevitability filled my heart, urging me to seek out this truth. I'm ready, I repeated, my voice trembling yet resolute. The weight of my words hung thickly in the air, reverberating within the shaken silence. For a heartbeat, everything felt still, like the world inhaling before the storm. When I looked back at my father, he stepped closer, a raw expression of longing upon his face. Entrapped by his reflections, I caught a glimpse of untold revelations, of sacred love stretched thin by years of hurt. And then, the room vibrated violently with a chilling truth, revealing a secret long buried beneath cycles of pain, a truth that had the potential to tear our fragile unity apart. Are you ready for what comes next? The apparition breathed, its presence growing formidable once more. Are you prepared to face the revelation that will change everything? In an instant, just before I could voice my concern or question, a figure twisted free from the shadows, its features indistinct, but a chilling familiarity rooted itself deep within me. The air turned stale with memories, my heart pounding as recognition sliced through the tension, and my mother's silhouette flickered as she voiced the unthinkable. Your brother, he needs you. And everything I thought I understood shattered like glass. I stood there, rooted in a whirlwind of confusion, my heart racing with a mixture of shock and disbelief. My brother? I whispered, grappling with the sudden surge of emotions threatening to consume me. It was a name I had buried beneath years of silence, haunting my thoughts like a ghost I dared not summon. Yes, my mother's voice echoed, sorrow intertwined with urgency. He's trapped in his own shadow, bound by the same curse that runs through our family's veins. You must confront him, both of you must find a way to break free from the darkness. The truth hung heavily in the air, suffocating as realization washed over me. I had spent so much time uncovering the threads of our family's past, but had left the most significant piece unexamined. I had worried about the burden on my shoulders, the weight of loss and the chains of despair binding Grandma and Aunt Shirley, but somehow my brother had become a casualty of our family's unresolved pain. Where is he? I demanded, my voice rising as fear clawed at my chest. How can I reach him? The shadows fluttered around us, their grip tightening as if sensing the upheaval in my soul, whispering doubts and regrets that had long been suppressed. Aunt Shirley took a step forward, her presence a reminder of love amidst chaos. You must go where the past lingers, Lila. Face what you've shied away from. He may not be here, but his spirit is tethered to the deep wounds you carry. In that moment, an overwhelming wave of realization struck me like lightning. My mind raced as memories flashed, the echoes of childhood laughter, smiles that dissipated, but never fully disappeared. A part of me had always known he was out there, struggling against the gravity of our family's history, but I had chosen silence over confrontation, hoping I could protect myself by ignoring the truth. Together then, I said firmly, turning to face my father. If we are to heal, we must confront this together. Hope washed over my uncertainty like a lighthouse beacon guiding me back to the shore. I held up my hand, feeling Sam's reassuring squeeze grounding me. Are you with me, Dad? Can we face this together? He hesitated, a storm of regret swirling in his gaze. I've never been the father you needed, he admitted, vulnerability cracking the protective wall he had built around his heart. But if confronting the truth is what it takes to save your brother, I will do what I must. And just like that, in that electric moment, the shadows receded, weaving away momentarily, granting us a fragile pathway through the fog of uncertainty. Our past was steeped in loss, in disappointment, but it was also a tapestry of love, one that could still be rewoven into something beautiful. Then let us find him, I declared, breath hitching with anticipation and fear. Where do we begin? Follow the light of hope, Aunt Shirley urged softly. Your connection to him is woven through your hearts. Visualize the bond and it will guide you to him. P.S. Waiting. With apprehensive excitement I nodded, closing my eyes momentarily, letting the warmth of familial love wrap around me like an embrace. I envisioned my brother, our shared moments, and the laughter we had lost in the tides of sorrow. In that space I felt an invisible thread pull taut, the tangled bond of blood and heartbreak that connected us across the years. As I opened my eyes, I felt Sam's presence beside me, an anchor within the chaotic whirlpool of emotions. Grandma stepped closer too, her determination shining through the cracks of uncertainty. I will hold this light for you, she promised, her eyes glistening with hope. Whatever comes, we do this as a family. As we moved forward, the light began to thrum, pulsating beneath my skin, guiding our steps toward the unknown. The shadows morphed, squirming and twisting, but they no longer held power over us. We were armed with the collective strength we had rediscovered. Echoes of laughter intertwined with the unbreakable threads of love that bound our hearts together. Suddenly, I sensed a shift in the air. The atmosphere felt charged, pregnant with expectation, as if the universe itself had conspired to bring us closer to the truth. I steadied my breath, recalling all I had learned from Grandma, Aunt Shirley, and now my father. The past had been inescapable, but now it was transforming into something that could guide our future. We stepped through a doorway woven of shadow and light, and instantly everything changed. The atmosphere crackled with electricity, and I saw him, my brother. He stood cloaked in shadows, his expression a mixture of desperation and vulnerability. Lila? He whispered, as if he couldn't believe his own eyes. Ethan! I shouted, rushing towards him. The years of separation collided like waves crashing on the shore, and I felt nostalgia tug at my heart. It's me. It's all going to be okay. We're here to help. He took a hesitant step back, the fear coursing through him, a mirrored reflection of the pain and turmoil we had carried within our core. You shouldn't have come, he murmured. His voice strained as if that mere acknowledgement would reveal the depths of the darkness he faced. You don't understand what's at stake. Then help me understand. I pleaded, my voice rising with earnest desperation. We don't have to face this curse alone. We can break the cycle if we stand together. With a long, tortured sigh, he lowered his head, the shadows flaring around him like a tempest. I felt it. The darkness, it was almost consuming me. I thought running from it would work. I thought I could escape. His voice trailed off, always teetering on the edge of despair. Ethan, I urged, running only worsens the pain. We can't let this define us anymore. It's time to confront our demons as a family. You're not alone in this. And suddenly the air brightened, a soft glow illuminating our surroundings, reflecting the love that filled the space between us. I felt Grandma's presence just behind me, her heart beating in tandem with our own, Sam's hand never leaving mine. Together we stood at the threshold of acceptance, the barrier between light and darkness rippling like a living tide. Aunt Shirley stepped forward too, her ethereal voice threading through the stillness. Ethan, we've all been shaped by our pasts, but if you can find the courage to embrace your truth, we can rewrite our legacy. And there it was, an invitation born of love, echoing between us as we reached across the chasm of hurt. Ethan raised his tear-soaked eyes, vulnerability blossoming like a flower in the midst of ash. I thought I was too far gone, he murmured, the shadows shrinking as his heart began to open. You are never too far gone, my father chimed in, stepping closer, a tremor of kindness beneath his hardened exterior. We will walk back together, one step at a time. That's where healing begins. As our hands joined, a pulse of light radiated through the darkness across space and time. A release surged through us all. The shadows flickered, and in that heartbeat I saw it. Love wrestling with grief, forming a bond stronger than any curse. Ethan blinked, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. Maybe together we can break this. And I knew then, in the depths of my being, that our family was ready to transform. The air shifted once more, and with it, the shadows released their iron grip, distorting into shimmering wisps that danced while retreating into the background. We had forged a pathway through vulnerability, through confrontation, through love. The whispers of our ancestors harmonized in the air, carrying our family's strength into the tapestry of our future. With hands clasped firmly together, we stood united, an unyielding force against the lingering darkness. The curse would not define us any longer. We had come to break those chains, to turn our loss into love, to rewrite our story of despair. And as I felt the pull of connection swirling around us, I knew we were on the brink of something beautiful. The dawn of a new narrative steeped in understanding. It was the moment we had all been waiting for, the beginning of healing in the face of our intertwined past. And in that moment I whispered a promise to myself, to my brother, and to everyone bound by our history. Together we will rise. And I understood now that the light woven from our love would always shine the brightest, illuminating the path forward into a future reborn, where loss had transformed into unwavering hope, a story echoing forever in the hearts of all who dared to believe.